All right, what is up? Welcome to Spoiler Kings. My name is King Kramer, Brandman Brandon down there, Brian the Grizzly over here, and we are going to talk about and review Blue Beetle, the new DC film that just dropped this weekend. So we're going to get into our ratings, we're going to get into the bads, some of the goods, and a bunch of other stuff. So if you're in chat, make sure you come in and let us know what you guys think. If you're watching our replay, hit that subscribe button. You can join us in chat too with all of our live reviews, and you can be part of the show. But with that being said, Brian, got a breakdown what this movie's about?
Why not? It's like I'm always ready. You never know. All right, here we go.
That's what I'm hoping.
Jaime Reyes suddenly finds himself in possession of an ancient relic of an alien biotechnology called the Scarab. When the Scarab chooses Jaime to be his symbiotic host, he's bestowed with an incredible suit of armor that's capable of extraordinary and unpredictable powers, forever changing his destiny as he becomes the superhero Blue Beetle. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Hey, $104 million budget. That's it. That's not that bad.
It was like no marketing. It's like
exactly.
This had to been no marketing. One, no marketing because of the strike. And then even before the strike, they really didn't do too much. They did a trailer, a teaser, and a trailer.
Yeah.
So the marketing budget is way low on this one. But yeah, we'll start off with some of the good stuff. Brandman, what you like about Blue Beetle?
Well, right out of the woodwork, I love the way this movie was filmed. I loved the cinematography and the use of colors. I thought the colors just really popped, which was awesome. Whoever designed the costume for Blue Beetle needs a pay raise. That thing looked beautiful. I loved that costume. It was absolutely perfect. The casting, Zolo Maraduena, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. I think he was the obvious choice to play Jaime Reyes, and he did a great job. I thought he really, he really carried a lot of the movie. But even in addition to that, I was really invested in the family dynamic with the Reyes family. I thought that really worked. I thought that really held my attention. They did a great job with that. I thought they all played off each other very, very well. George Lopez, I thought, was pretty funny in it. What else was there? The music, the soundtrack. I thought the soundtrack that it was like that kind of synth kind of throwback soundtrack that I really, really liked. I might even need to get the soundtrack. But I really liked those elements. I think those were probably the standouts for me, and I thought the action sequences were pretty decent. But overall, it was just something that kept me very much entertained.
Yeah. Okay. Nice, Brian. Yeah.
I agree with everything Brandon said, except even more. I want to add on to. I think the story was pretty good. As much as I love the family dynamic, I thought all the stuff was very good. I feel like the CGI, everything they messed up on Flash, they gave to them. I don't understand how Flash had this huge budget and Blue Beetle, who had the small budget, hit the CGI so well. There was no time when I'm looking at it that doesn't look right. That doesn't look good. They knew when to use the suit, when to use CGI. They knew how to mesh it in really well. I gotta say, Sholo, I really did like him as Blue Beetle. I didn't mind George Lopez as much as I thought going into. I was gonna this dude. I didn't mind him at all. Susan Sarandon is such a cool badass. She did such a good job being a pain in the ass. I think they said on House of Nerds show she was a Karen. She did such a good job to be so liberal in her real life. She did such a great job with that. I had some issues with some of the things, but none of it was with the family. The grandma, I even enjoyed that part. That made more sense now that I saw the movie. I love that they aged him up, because everything I thought he was in high school always. He was always in
In
high
the
school.
comics,
And
I mean, he just graduated high school in the comics. So
they,
with graduation day.
he's graduating college in this movie. So they aged him to about 22 years old, which makes sense going forward into the this new DC universe. I enjoyed a lot of the stuff they did. I think they made really good decisions with it. Yeah, I'm all for it. Except I was very sad about some other parts. I mean, emotionally, it taxed me so much. And I think the thing that stuck with me was when the grandma said, "Okay, now we could cry."
Yeah.
Like it was
Oh
so
God.
cool because like we cannot cry right now. We got to do what we got to go do. And then when she said, "Okay, now we could cry," I was like, man, that was so emotional. It was so good. It was just touching. Yeah, good movie. Very good movie.
Yeah. So I'll go and then we'll do some of the comments with with everyone's positives. But yeah, so like agree with everything you guys said. But I think they really hit it on the head with the Latino like family connection with everything. Yeah, like again, I hate who is that? I think Jacoby on House of Nerds, he said it perfectly, exactly how I felt. Was I hate that I like George Lopez so much. I do think they overused him a little bit because the sister was great. Yeah. And that was one thing I don't know if it's good or bad thing, but the sister was great and I enjoyed her a lot. It was a Milagro. She was awesome.
Yeah.
Rudy, which is George Lopez's character, he was funny, but also this is what happens when you put in an actual comedian telling jokes and not somebody who thinks they're funny talking and saying funny things. It's like, no, here's a comedian that might know how to land it very well. And he's done a lot of corny, cheesy, things with it. Yeah, book bag.
Got it. Book bag, popcorn bucket.
Yeah. So like, yeah, George Lopez, I thought I was gonna be super annoyed by him. And he was actually a lot of fun. Like Rudy was a lot of fun. He had Taco, his little Tacoma, his little taco that was awesome. But even now a lot of people are talking about Jenny Cord. This is I don't know how to pronounce her name. Runa, I think her name is
Marquezine.
Yeah. So she was awesome. She was like the good guy kind of thing.
I had so many questions about her. I have so many questions about her.
She's an interesting character that I think if they decide to do a follow up, they can definitely dig in a little bit to more her and her family's backstory. But I mean,
that's definitely going to happen. That definitely will happen with her dad. Yeah.
But I just like how. I was gonna say I like how it's opposite of like she has a horrible family, and then she falls accidentally part of his family, and his family's so tightly knit, and it was great. But the bad guy I thought looked cool. The graphics looked cool. Harvey Gulin was Dr. Sanchez.
That guy's great.
It was super great. Yeah, it was super great.
Yeah, I'm a fan of his. It took a minute for it to click that he's on What We Do in the Shadows.
I knew it immediately. So first thing I thought was like,
which I really should have known because I love What We Do in the Shadows. I don't know how that didn't click for me right away.
Yeah. He's also the voice of Nightwing in the Harley Quinn show, which is awesome. Because I love what they did that made Nightwing so silly. So I do like him. He's a great funny actor and stuff like that. But yeah, the music. One last thing, the music I thought was great. The Cypress Hill song that came on was it Ain't Going Out Like That. like I was like, wow, it fits so perfect. And as soon as that came on, as soon as I heard the music, I thought of two people. One of my best friends in elementary school and in high school, Roberto, super diehard Cypress Hill fan. And so immediately I thought of him, I was like, him and how much he loved it. And then I also thought about Sergio from House of Nerds show because I'm like, oh, he's gonna love this because I know he's into like hip hop. I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's got like Cypress Hill. It's like like a thing. Like if you're into hip hop and you're Hispanic, like you gotta like Cypress Hill, and they're awesome. I like them. So that was great. And then a lot of the other music was really good too because there's times I'm like I hear something, I look over and my girlfriend's like, mouthing the words to the song that's playing. So, it definitely hit that, with the culture kind of part of it. But yeah, man, there's so many other good stuff. But I know you guys already said a lot. But here, let's get into some of the comments before we get into our bads. Holy crap, man. You guys are going crazy in the comments. Which is good.
You don't know where to start, huh?
Oh no, that's the one. Yeah, I know. Yeah, George Lopez was
one of the highlights for me. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Agreed. The costume was on point. It was so on point. Blue Beetle used practical FX to perfection. Agreed with Brandman. Cinematography was on point, very stylistic and looked sharp style. Yeah, I think there's even the leaked picture of Solo wearing the suit.
Wearing the suit, yeah.
And I thought that was always great. It always looked best when
you
did stuff.
You can see it because that's why he has the helmet off. You saw his face wearing the suit. You need to have those mixing of it. I mean, that's the best part of Batman, honestly. So that's DC did right, and they understood what they needed to do. They understood the assignment. They hit it.
Yeah. Yep. I thought the CGI was going to be bad, but luckily it was actually quite solid. Agreed. It was very, very well done. The family was as well. So
it was done well.
See.
They gave us a flash of CGI budget to Blue Beetle.
Exactly. That's exactly what you said. Yeah.
But don't you remember what Andy Muschietti said? The CG was supposed to be bad.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad they decided to make it good. Blue Beetle.
He's like, and not do that
ever again.
Yeah. I said, yeah, great ensemble cast. Yeah, everyone did their thing. Yeah, and everyone had a role in it too.
But you felt the family. You understood the family dynamic, and it just made perfect sense. Even the dad, that made perfect sense. That how you're going to fight for everything. You're going to, we will make a way. No matter what's going on, guys, we will make a way. That's such a family thing to say and to understand, to really internalize and believe in it. That's so cool. Yeah.
See, a lot of people didn't like Susan Sarandon. A lot of people didn't. But I thought she did a great job being a racist, money-hungry piece of crap. Yeah, and she wasn't. The bad guy was kind of split in two, which is I think a lot of people complained about. Because there was her and was it Omex, whatever that dude. Omek. So it's kind of like when you split the bad guy into being here's the mental voice of the bad guy, but here's the physical prowess of the bad guy, and they're two separate things. It's hard to. People are like, oh, I don't like that, because like one's gonna be weaker than the other. Just imagine if they made Killmonger into like two different things. Like, oh, here's the violent, but then here's like Killmonger's brother, who's the voice. It's like one's gonna be better than the other because that's just how it's gonna be.
I never saw this. I feel like there's only one evil person.
In this
Victoria Cord. There was only her, and she was always brainwashed. He was just a victim of his surroundings. That's how I saw it from the beginning because he was holding. When I saw him holding the necklace, the locket. That's from the beginning.
At the end.
Not what they showed at the end, but I saw it at the beginning. He was always holding the locket. You saw that he had a connection to someone. Like I thought maybe they had his family in hiding, or he was doing it because they had his family. I thought some type of connection like that was going on. So like I knew why they're doing what they're doing. I felt like she was the piece of crap because I knew she was the reason why she was the reason he lost all his stuff. I knew from the beginning. So she was the piece of crap. There was no question who the bad person was. He was just the hard.
He was the hand.
Exactly, the hand. He's the one that tells you go do this. You go do this. And he's so brainwashed that he was just doing it. But there's only one evil character here.
Yeah. No, she was evil. He was her hand. He was like, her like, the guard dog or something. Like, hey, go get that. Go do that. So, but yeah.
This wasn't like Dark Knight Rises, when you had two bad guys. You had one bad guy and one worked for the other bad guy. That's what.
Yeah, I think it's a better way to put it. Because there's the bad guy, and then there's like the hand, like the enforcer for the real bad guy.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I liked his little twist because you thought, well, at least for me, I thought those people he saw a picture of were somebody else, and then they tell the story. I'm like, oh wow, that's different than what I was planning in my head what they were going to tell you. So
That's why
which was good.
I thought that they were holding his family hostage.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I thought the
something like
whole
that.
time he says like your family is what's holding you back. That's your weakness because he knew from personal experience. Every time he said that, I feel like it was personal experience that he knew. That's why he knew what he was saying. So
Yeah.
I mean, but that's why I felt from the beginning with that.
Yeah, yep. You like cried. Those pigtails are legendary. Yep.
Dude, once she took her hair out, I was like, oh no, man, that's it. Grandma, she got this thing, man. This is so
Grandma
cool.
said we got to go to work. We got work to do.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then Sergio said, most importantly, they showed the importance of strength and familia and Latino. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. We need a grandma backstory. 100%.
Yep.
Just give me that. Give me a throwback like 1950s, 60s.
It would be late 70s, early 70s,
70s.
early 70s. So yeah, that'll be it.
Yeah.
Sarah, Viva la Revolución. Let's go. I was like, let's go.
Yeah. Sorry if I can't get to everybody. I want a taco for my birthday. Me too. And I want a sequel. Yep.
Mhm.
I wouldn't mind a sequel. This was very, very good. I hope
Yeah.
it gets the legs that we need to have to make the money that it needs to have to get a sequel.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. He voices Nightwing. And the dog in Puss in Boots. That's right. That is right. Yeah, he's great at that one too, the Puss in Boots one. Sorry if I can't get to everybody. Oh, there you go. He said, I almost lost my shit when Cypress Hill dropped during that final act. Yeah. Yeah. I heard it and I was like, oh man. And this brought me back to like talking to my friend and like stuff like that. So it was like, it was super cool. The soundtrack was great, man. Even like they reference, I had to ask my girlfriend because I'm like, is the show that they're talking about a real show? She goes, yeah, and then she like started breaking down the show.
Yep.
For me, it's like that's how big it is in like like Mexican like culture. Like watching it on on TV and stuff. So I was like, that's
she
funny.
leaves her life, and then he has all the money, and then he comes and takes it. Oh wait, I was like,
But
oh
you're
my God.
Maria. I was laughing.
You're Maria. It was so funny.
But I think that's another thing that they did really good was they took something that is very specific to like the Mexican household and they applied it to the movie, but they explained it to the point where like you're not dumbing it down like, hey audience, this is what this means, even though that's what they were doing, but it didn't sound like they were like pandering to the audience, at least with something like that. So yeah, I mean there was a lot of inside jokes for the Latino Mexican community that they got, but you don't feel left out though, which is good. I think Zack Attacks mentioned that too in his, and I'm like 100% agree, because there's a lot of times where I'll hear people laughing and other people not laughing because it's made for the Hispanics in the audience to like, hey, you know what we're talking about. So good. Big Four did not like George Lopez.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand why you don't like him, but I did. I did enjoy him. I thought
I don't like George. I don't like George Lopez as a person. I think he,
no, that was not talking
not
about
political
that
or anything. It's just like personal stuff. I'm like, you did some shady shit.
Yeah. I've never really paid too much attention to him other than his sitcom, which gave me a couple laughs from time to time.
Good.
But yeah, that's my full extent of my familiarity with
unbelievable
Lopez.
show ever. I was like, really, really, you got her in high school being a dropout, and she was rich and Cuban. Nah, bro.
It happens. It happens. I know people. I'll show you pictures, and you were like, "Wait, what? How?"
No.
Wow.
But she's rich.
That's
why you're beautiful,
rich.
you're rich, and you're Cuban. And I was like, all right, come on. That means your parents did a bad job.
That's funny. All right, we're gonna move on to that real quick. Grandma was the best. She was awesome, and that's what in the trailer it was goofy, and then once you get the context and everything, she was a badass. She was a badass. The inside jokes for the Latino population were dope. Yeah, glad to hear that others didn't feel left out. Feel like there's enough common humor for everyone to enjoy. Yeah, because even if you didn't, I think in context you understood the joke.
Mhm.
You know,
I think it depends on the person you are. Honestly,
yeah,
if you're someone who understands cultures are different and then you want to know what's going on, then you'll be fine with it. If you want it to all be about you, then you'd be like, oh, I missed me.
Mhm.
You know, that's fine. Either
Yeah.
way, I mean, whatever. Who am I say what's
Yeah.
right and what's wrong?
yeah. It was a funny part when Zolo when Jaime said it was inside of him, and George Lopez said it went up his culo. It went up his butthole. You know, it was Spanish for the funniest thing in the movie. Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, I mean, Rudy was that kind of that guy every Hispanic family has, that he's either one, a conspiracy theorist, or two, just knows how to fix everything. You know,
Mhm.
he just took two of those like uncles and combined them into one uncle.
Yeah,
for the
you know,
family.
I feel like that's in every culture. I think every culture
That is
has
true.
that. You know,
Yeah.
don't trust the
Yeah.
government, and don't worry
Yeah,
about it. I
yeah.
got this. Give
Yep.
me 24 minutes and two pieces of bubble gum,
Mhm.
and I got you.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, all right, let's get into some of the bad stuff. Brandon, what didn't you like about this one?
I thought the plot itself was kind of generic. It wasn't anything that we really haven't seen before, and that goes for the villain and henchman too. It did kind of have that kind of generic villain syndrome in that regard. The character of Jenny, like the romantic subplot between her and Jaime, just kind of seemed obligatory, I guess. Um, I think those were like the main standout things for me. Just kind of plot wise, it wasn't really anything that we haven't seen before. And you know, the villains, the romantic subplot. I kind of wanted to see more of the of I wanted to see the Scarab kind of do more. You know, like so the things that we saw it do, you know, that we saw Jaime do as Blue Beetle were cool. They were definitely cool enough. Don't get me wrong, but I was kind of hoping, since this is biotechnology that could form literally anything that can be thought of, I was just kind of hoping there'd be a little bit more. Um, but those were, I'd say, those were my main things with it that were kind of my that were kind of the low points of the movie, at least for me.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Brian.
I didn't understand how Jenny Cord, who's Brazilian, understood everything the family was saying. I did not understand that, because if you go to Brazil, like I've been to Brazil, they don't speak Spanish. Speak Portuguese. Portuguese and Spanish, yes, they're both romantic language, are not the same. They're nowhere near the same. I can understand some things that there's a lot of stuff that you don't understand. You lose in translation. And the fact that she was able to understand them, I never understood how that was happening. No one explained it. It was just like, oh yeah, we all look alike, you look similar, so we speak the Spanish. No, that's not how things work. That's not how things are. And none of that was ever explained. I didn't understand that.
Yeah. Jorge said, or House of Nerd said it. They are different technically, but they are very, very similar. It's kind of like Polish and Russian. Like they're
but
different.
it's
but
so
they're-
I know a little Portuguese. It's especially it's in conversational Spanish and then Portuguese. That's hard, man.
Yeah.
You know, you can understand some type of stuff. It's because it's. I mean, they're all Latin. They're all based in Latin, but it's not doesn't mean like just because you know German and you said German and Russian or you know sound like doesn't mean that you understand anything that fuck is going
Polish.
on. You know,
Like Polish, Ukraine, Russian, like those are
yeah,
all
all
I can't think of that version
Baltic
of
languages and stuff like that, but it
yeah.
doesn't mean that you're going to
I mean,
understand
there's stuff
everything.
you're gonna miss out on. I for sure, but I think it's close enough.
No, I went there
because
with someone who spoke Spanish and had no idea. We were sitting there the entire time in Brazil, had no idea what the hell was going on.
because I went to Peru. They still speak Portuguese in Peru, and there's a few of my class members that are very well versed in Spanish.
She was listening. She
They were
speaks,
kind of get it, you know.
but she
Kind of
speaks Portuguese. She's listening to him in Spanish and answering in English. I was like, "What? Okay, cool, whatever."
Yeah.
just all right. I got you.
I mean,
got you.
there's like stuff, even like Puerto Rican Spanish and Mexican Spanish is very different. I mean,
Yeah, but
there's
that's
times,
at least it's all Spanish.
Yeah.
Portuguese is just,
It's a different thing.
when I was
I get
there, it was very difficult, and then to be able to go back and forth, the level of understanding you have to go from back and forth between Portuguese to Spanish to English is very difficult. Like,
Yeah.
it's that's.
So you say I can watch a Brazilian film and pick up quite a bit. Yeah, I mean you can get a little bit. You know,
I don't know if you can have a conversation and then go.
Yeah,
and
you
then
know, definitely
back
not
to
fluent.
English.
Yeah, definitely not fluent to have.
You know, we were there for a long time, and my girlfriend at the time was not able to. She's very fluent. She's Cuban. She was able to do all this stuff, and had no freaking clue what the hell was going on. You know, like, because you eat pieces, and then people start walking, and you're like, what? Maybe your father taught her, but maybe you should have told me that.
Yeah.
Maybe you should tell me something.
Yeah. I think what you said the first time were like, they're just like, hey, they're both brown. There you go.
And I felt like that was a bad
I think that's
thing.
what it was. Yeah, it is.
You know, like,
oh, yeah. Zach said this when it pops up, that she's a very smart person, a daughter of a genius in a comic book. Maybe she took it in high school. I don't know. You know, maybe. And like my teacher in high school, he was born in Peru, so when he came here, he learned Spanish because he's like, well, no one speaks Portuguese. Yeah.
But like, I'm telling you, like, she spoke Spanish. I mean, when you're engulfed in it, it's not something that's so easy. And to be able to switch back between things, you have to be real fluent to be able to do those things. And I just didn't understand that at all, how it's possible that she was able to understand what's going on and understand the dynamic that was happening as much as possible, as much as it was. Dr. Sanchez, I didn't understand him being okay with what was going on that long. Like, it took all that time for him to figure out and wake the fuck up. That didn't make any sense to me at all. It's just like, it was just happening. And didn't enjoy that. I didn't enjoy that. I didn't like what was going on. I also thought that you could have got more with the sister. Mila Girl, I think she was great. I wanted more of her. That would have been just something I would have enjoyed more. I could deal without the mother because, you know, the mother father, we understand the dynamic with it because we had a grandmother, but the sister, I thought that we should have got some more of it. Yeah. And honestly, everything I'm saying is very nitpicky because this is a good movie, you know, but those are the negatives I have for it.
Yeah. So my thing, definitely the sister. I know I brought it up a little before you brought it up right now. The sister, I feel like there's times where she should have been in the spot where Rudy was. You know, like Rudy just kind of came in and started taking over, which is fine. But then there's other parts where, like, I feel like, oh wait, she's younger and she knows technology more, or she knows this more. It's like, I feel like she should have been bigger in the end, rather than just like, oh, I fell, save me, and then, you know, punches somebody with the big punch hand thing.
Or you know, instead of Rudy being the one who's a computer whiz, even though that wasn't explained, she could have been the one, since she has technology and she's you know, younger.
You know, like he messed around with the old computer. Cool, that's your technology. And now he's like, something could have been more newer technology. I don't know. Maybe they might do that in the next one, because everything was like Ted's technology, which was based in the 80s, I think. Right. You know, the old like watch was all, you know, all the computer was all old stuff. So I don't know. But I did want more of her, because in the beginning she was really, her and the connection with Jaime was really good. You know, I like the brother sister relationship, and I enjoyed it. You know, the older brother and the younger sister and stuff like that. So I did like that. The Sanchez thing, it was funny at the end, but like you said, like, he was there during the raid. You know, watching them do that, and at no point was he's like, hold on, I don't know, but I maybe he was too coward to do it, or too, I don't know, afraid to lose his job. But I don't know. I didn't like that. But for me, like Brandon, you said that you didn't like that it was kind of generic. I didn't see it as generic. I always saw it as, at the end of this movie, I'm like, oh, this took parts of other great comic book movies. You know, for me, it was like, I saw a lot of Iron Man 1, a lot of Ant-Man, you know, Iron Man 2. I like when I don't want to spoil it, but there's a part of Black Panther that kind of is similar to a part in here. And it was like with family and ancestors and stuff like that. I was like,
Mhm.
cool, I was like, it's really cool. So it's like, for me, it's like, it. Everyone always says how much they love Marvel Phase 1 and 2, and now they're saying, oh, this movie didn't reinvent the wheel. I was like, what is it? You want to go back to these great stories that they originally told us, or do you want the wheel to be reinvented? Because Marvel is trying to reinvent the wheel, and you're not liking it. So they made a movie that was probably more 2010 and 12 kind of vibe, but in today, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. It was like, like who was it? K Dot said it pretty good. It's like, oh, there's been action movies before, so when there's another action movie, you're like, oh, it doesn't change anything. It felt like every other action movie, which is true, but it's also like it like something like John Wick. It's taken all the good things from other action movies and made it its own. And that's why I felt like this one did. It kind of made it its own, taking inspiration from previous comic book movies.
Yep.
But that Brandon, yours is like what majority of the people were saying is it was too generic, and the bad guy wasn't good enough. For me, the villains was the weakest part of it, but it wasn't like horrible. I get it. They wanted to focus more on Jaime learning about it, and then the bad guy just kind of there effing everything up.
Yeah.
I open the next one. It's a real bad guy. Like, I want to see another Reach. The Reach is where the Scarab comes from. Anybody that doesn't know. But yeah, I want to get more into that in the next one. Like, get into some real heavy shit. So
Yeah.
So yeah. Like you said, like same thing how you guys said. It's not enough to ruin the movie for me. It's just like nitpicks and little things.
Yeah.
All right. So here at the Spoiler Kings, we do things nice and easy. We do a now, later, never. Now means you got to go see it right now in theaters. Later means you wait till it's streaming, and never means you can skip it. Don't waste your money on it. Brandon, what you giving Blue Beetle?
This was kind of a tough one. I was kind of thinking about this beforehand because I almost like my knee jerk reaction, like I give a lot of things, is to say now. I would say I'm gonna have to lean more towards later for this, and the only reason that I say that is as entertaining a time as I had with this movie, and I really did, so much so to the point where I'm probably gonna go again, probably later on in the week before I go see Gran Turismo. Um, as entertaining as it is, it doesn't really break much new ground when it comes to the superhero genre. Like, and that goes for in terms of the plot, the villains. What really anchors this movie is the acting and the family dynamic. I was very much invested in that. They made the, the people behind the Fast movies need to take notes on how to do family and have you be invested. But that said, it didn't really like break too much new ground, and I wouldn't say it's something that you really need to rush out to go see as fun a time as I had. So it's on the higher end, more towards now, but I still have to kind of give it a later.
Okay. Brian?
It's very interesting that you said that.
Yeah.
If this, I would say this is super now. If it was definitely part of DCU going forward, because, and I think that's where my issue is. Not with this movie, because I think the movie is great, and I would say now I'm going to rate it now because I compared to what else is out right now, I think this is the best one out of it because I've already seen Gran Turismo. I think this Strays. I've already seen those things, so I think this is the better movie. So I think that'll be the now to go see of those movies. It's the better movie. But because it has nothing going forward, it's just the character. It's hard for me to rate the movie going forward being a now, even though I'm going to. But it's a lower now because going forward it doesn't matter. I wish it would be. We're talking about sequel and the trilogy because I feel like that's that good of a character that we could get that. But because it's not going to be there, I just it's hard. So, but I'm still saying now, but it's lower on my now list. So yeah, that's me.
So with me, I think that, this is like the unofficial. Like this movie, he said it doesn't count, but like
Yeah.
unofficially it counts. Yeah,
Just the character. You're
Just
trying to will it into yourself, but it's not what he
I mean,
said.
it's the same thing with like Edward Norton Hulk. Like technically it's kind of MCU, but not really MCU. But they use that character to continue the story in the MCU. Same thing. So I think it's like
that's exactly right. Yeah.
And for me it's a now, and I was like it's a super now because if this movie doesn't do well, doesn't do well enough, then he's always going to be just a side character, a part of an ensemble with like other people. If it does well, then James Gunn be like, let's see, let's continue his story. Let's do something a Young Justice style. Let's bring in more aliens. Let's do something that Josh Trujillo he did Graduation Day, and it did so well in the comic book that he's getting a full story, a monthly story now, and you can easily pull from that story. With other scarabs and stuff like that. Young Justice did the same thing with other scarabs from the Reach and stuff
Black
like
Beetle
that.
and stuff like that.
Black Beetle, now they have like Yellow Beetle, Red Beetle. They have a bunch of them. So like, I think if you really like this, then it's a super now, just for the importance of this character going forward. Like
what
showing
of the character,
support,
but not the movie. That's
showing
problem.
support to the character because of what the character means to the universe, the upcoming universe. Like one of our videos, it's a little, I don't want to go too much on a tangent, but we said how important it is to support this movie, and somebody in their comments said like, hey, this isn't like a whole movement, it's just a movie. I was like, yeah, but not for you. For other people, like certainly myself, like this is more than just a movie. It's like if you want to see the very few Hispanic characters in comic books, then it's important for this guy, one of the bigger Hispanic characters in comic books, to do well. So going forward, if you want to see it, then it's important. So it is supporting a movement in that way. But just as a movie, I think it's a now. It was a lot of fun. I loved all the characters, the soundtrack, the action, the visuals. They all hit for me. Like the story was great. It reminded me of great comic book movies in the past. So definitely a now. But it hits a little bit more closer to home for me. With else. But, cool. Let me bring up some of these comments real quick with their ratings. Obviously, Sergio, he said it's a now. I would say that. Toxic Gamer said, I would say now for Blue Beetle fans like myself, and later for everyone else who wants something different from the comic book movie genre. So one last thing before we finish things up. Rotten Tomato score. Very surprising. I was kind of happy with what I saw. With the critics, we got 201 reviews.
Wait. I'm guessing. So
all right, 201 critics.
I want to guess critics are 80.
Close. Brandon, what you guessing? I don't know if you saw it or not yet.
I didn't. 75.
Ooh, 76.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We're playing Price is Right rules. Brandon wins. He didn't go over. But yeah, 76, which I'm like, that's good. I'll take that from the critics. I will take that any day from the critics.
Yeah.
The audience, 1,000 plus verified from the audience. What do you think of the audience?
So you said 76 for the critics. I'm gonna go 78 for the audience.
Okay. Brandon, 1,000.
86.
92.
Whoa,
90.
that's
So
cool.
The audience is loving this movie. In the 90s is really, really good. So that is like super shocking, for seeing some of the negative stuff that is being said about this movie. It being a 92 is really good. Like, so hopefully this is kind of thing of like, maybe it might not, and this is exactly what we said for months at this point. It's going to be a good movie and it's going to flop, So
yeah,
that's exactly what it looks like it's going to happen.
I don't know. It depends on what you level would you call as a flop. That's what.
Yeah. It needs to, if this winds up doing one of the better box offices for the DC, then I think it'll be good. But if it's like right at the bottom, then I would say that's a flop. But we'll see. We'll see. I think this movie's gonna have some legs, and in 5 weeks we'll see where it's at. So appreciate you guys checking out. If you're watching our replay, hit that subscribe button down there, hit that like button, hit that bell notification so you know when we go live, and you too could be part of the show with us, giving your opinions live. But thank you guys. Thank you everyone in chat. There's so many of you guys in chat. Thank you everyone for hanging out with us. Appreciate it. Stick around. We're gonna finish things up on the live show, and we're gonna talk about some other stuff. But thank you everybody for watching our review of Blue Beetle, and leave your comments down below what you think. But we are out for this one. Appreciate it.